Now, one of my favorite parts about starting a business promoting the Body by Vi Challenge is you're actually in business for yourself. And one of the huge advantages to being in business for yourself is the tax breaks that you're allowed to have. Now, I want to disclaim that I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA, but I've been in this industry for a little while, and I know this can be a huge asset if you know how to use it. In short, all of the expenses that you are going to spend in promoting your new ViSalus business, you want to make sure you document. Here are some categories of things you may be already spending money on that you're going to be able to use to promote your ViSalus business. Now, I recommend you go find a good accountant that understands home-based businesses, understands what we call a 1099, because that's the type of form you will get from ViSalus at the end of the year, and can guide you on how you can turn all of this into a money-saving opportunity for you. Here's a quick example, because when I got taught this at a young age, it totally shifted my paradigm on how I was able to earn income. You see, most individuals are employees, right? Most individuals get paid on what we call a W-2, right? Or a W-4. Now, here's a simple example of how when you're an employee getting paid on a W-2 or W-4, you're actually the last one to get paid. You end up paying everybody else first, and you end up keeping what's left. What's a good income, say, in our country, of someone that would say, man, I'm making a decent income? Most people would say, if you're making $100,000 a year, that's a decent living, right? You're a six-figure-a-year earner. So let's say you're an employee right now, and you are making, right, $100,000 a year. Now, let me ask you this. If you've ever been an employee, you know the answer. By the time you get your paycheck, there are already a bunch of subtractions, right, on your paycheck stub. Those subtractions are what we call what? Taxes. Now, if you're in a $100,000 above income range, how much do you think, on average, you would pay in taxes? If you guessed 40%, you're about right. On average, you're paying about 40% in taxes. So let's say you were making $100,000. Instantly, before you even get it, you're paying $40,000 in taxes, so $100,000 really is only what? $60,000. Okay, so we're making $60,000 a year. Then what? Well, then we have what's called life, right? All of your expenses. Now, let me ask you, if you're making $100,000, which is really only $60,000 after taxes, how much do you think most households are spending? Well, if you guessed over 60, you're probably right? 65, 70 with what we call credit card debt. I know some of you guys can relate. Let's not go there. Let's say you're smart, right? You're focusing on saving. Let's say your household, if you brought in $60,000, you're only spending $55,000, which means at the end of that year, you have about $5,000 remaining. $5,000 out of your $100,000 is left. Maybe you go on a family vacation, all right? Maybe you save it, maybe you invest it, but that's your $5,000. Now let's take the same income with the same expenses, but let's put it over here, but let's do it as a business owner, as a 1099, like you now are in promoting the challenge. So your income was what? $100,000, okay? Now what happens? If you said taxes, you're right, but not yet. You see, here's the fun part. As a business owner, you're first able to deduct your business expenses and then get taxed on the remaining. So let's see how that works. $100,000, your expenses were $55,000, which leaves you $45,000 left that you're able to get taxed on. Now that $45,000 puts you in a lower tax bracket, which means on average you're only going to get taxed about $18,000, which leaves you remaining $27,000. Now look at the difference. $5,000, $27,000. Same income, same expenses, but the dollars are different. A dollar you make as an employee is actually less than a dollar you make as an entrepreneur. Now, the argument here would be, well, maybe you can't write off all your expenses. That's up to you and your accountant. But let's say it's only $15,000 left. That's still 3 times the income. Once I learned that, guys, I swore I would never earn $1 over here when it's not as worth as much as $1 over here. So congratulations for now taking that jump, becoming an entrepreneur and promoting the challenge. And in short, make sure you're documenting your expenses, because I just showed you how you could make or save, a penny saved is a penny earned, before you even start generating income from the ViSalus compensation plan.